Okay, so I guess you wanted to start right off with, has anybody looked at the minutes? I know Andy sent back some comments and I sent back some comments. I was fine on the October and November. Do we have we looked at them or you want to hold off?
I thought the minutes as corrected looked fine.
Excellent.
October, I don't have an electronic copy, but I made a few minor corrections.
Very good.
But if everybody's comfortable, I have no problem with approving it.
I'm good.
All right, so motion to accept October and November minutes. All in favor?
I can accept October because I wasn't
Oh,
there.
you weren't there. Whoops. So we can't do it. All right, so we're just gonna hold on October and were we all there in November? You know what? Let's just put a pause on that. Kelly, if that's all right with you, we'll come back to that one. All right, so I guess let's jump right into Glenn. If Glenn is here for Riverview, or is there someone here for Riverview?
Glenn is on, yes. Glenn, you're on mute.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
Good evening, Glenn.
Oh, hello, how are you?
All well, hanging in.
Okay, we went to the planning board, went over the plans. They have sent us back to you because we made some changes. I think for the better, and we want to make sure that you think for the better, or if not, what we have to do to fix it. So if I could share my screen.
Sure.
I sent the which one is which now? This one, I guess. I want this one. Okay, you see my map?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The two things I think that are of concern are what we did with regard to the protecting the wetlands behind the parking area that we proposed and the parking area itself. When we were with you the last time, we had discussed and I think came to a reasonable conclusion that we would put a fence along the edge of the parking and in order to keep the uses of the parking lot from migrating into the wetland area. And then I'm not sure if it was discussed at the meeting or it came afterward that we would do a curbing to at the edge of the, again, at the same back edge of the parking area to prevent the pavement or the surface from falling, breaking, cracking, splitting at the ends and migrating into the wetland area. I presented that to our client, Mr. Reichert, and he suggested an alternate, which I think is just as good. In fact, the sense of it may be better. What he would like to do is put a ready rock wall around not just the area facing the wetlands, but basically around the whole parking area on all sides except for at the entry point. His logic, I think, is pretty sound. I think we're okay with it. It would substitute for the fence and it would substitute for the curb. It's a Ready Rock I think that's actually a brand name, but it's basically large precast concrete building blocks in the 4 to 6 feet by 2 by 2 by 4 to 6 feet. And you're sure you're all familiar with them. There's a number of places in town and they're all over the place. So just to give you an idea, if I can maneuver myself a little bit. Here's a detail of what we're talking about. The rock would be, it's essentially a bunch of building blocks, large building blocks. They're on a drain stone foundation. I'm pointing with my finger instead of my cursor, sorry. They're on a built foundation. They would be built up to a height above the ground, which would be, actually will go one block higher than this, but so you have your pavement on one side against the wall. It would be protected from the pavement crushing and blocking into the, from being crushed and then migrating into the wetlands. And it would also be a significant barrier. And Mr. Reichert's point is that it substitutes for both. It's much more durable than a chain link fence, which I'm sure you have seen plenty of chain link fences that have gone into disrepair. So that's the major physical change. We would like to use the tailings that are on there, which are macadam tailings, and push the macadam in and roll it. And we showed you this before, where we have directed the drainage across the parking area to the north side. The question, I think at some point, maybe in Max's letter, which said a solid impervious surface. These are tailings, they're rolled in, they are impervious in terms of any drainage or anything like that. There certainly will be some voids in it. So those are the two major changes. And as an aside, although not directly affecting your concerns, we have met with the DOT. We have drawings. I don't think we've actually submitted them, but we have met with the DOT. They are certainly in favor of us controlling the intersection. There was a bit of a sight distance issue to the north, but it's just a matter of taking out some plantings and making sure we don't make this berm too high. To the south, there's plenty of sight distance, so I don't think we'll have an issue there. We've done our best to contain the paved area, and I think Mr. Gaynor, in one of his memos, he said, well, how are you going to turn a tractor trailer around here in this relatively small drive aisle? And basically the answer is that Mr. Reichert has a machine intended for moving trailers. It's not like you come in with a big tractor. You come in with this little tractor that you use, a yard tractor that you use to make that maneuvering. Again, we've left the landscaping details off of here, and I think we discussed it last month, or 2 months ago, I guess it was, that it would be our preference, and I think yours, I hope yours, that we would work with Max to develop a plan that would take care of the Phragmites over in this area towards the southwest of the parking area, and develop an acceptable landscape plan to restore the wetlands behind the parking area. So that's my whole story.
All right.
And how high are because it doesn't depict it in the 3 cross sections on the plan. How high will the ready rock be above grade?
I'm going to say, I have to check this, to be honest with you, but I think it's going to be 2 blocks above grade, which probably makes it 4 feet high.
Okay, that's more than I thought. Okay, that's good.
The blocks are about 2 feet tall.
Mhm.
And you're right, the detail didn't show that.
You know, it's interesting on the detail, you've got 3 different sort of heights shown, where some are 3 block, some are 4 block. Well, some are 2 and some are 4 blocks. So it looks like it's actually being used, the lower one, the bottom one, it's used as a retaining wall as well along the south side of the property, because I'm assuming that is in an effort to be able to build up the grade so that it drains north.
I
Is that
think,
correct?
I don't think we have to build up much grade. I really think it's more like the middle one, where we're really just trying to make a complete separation.
Mhm.
No, I think that's a good solution.
I mean, I'd be curious to hear Max's thoughts on that, but I don't know if you heard, Glenn, but Max says is ill.
I just heard you say that a few minutes ago, yes. Too bad.
All right. Okay, so if I could refer to the letter that went to the planning board, installation of the chain link fence and curbing around the entire area seems to be rolled into this solution. As well as mandating that a completely impervious surface be installed over the parking area so no oil or other contaminants could wash away into right-of-ways, wetlands, watercourse, which ties into the previous note, which is grading of the site towards a center drain catch basin with an oil catch containment contaminant filter that could be removed, clean, replaced. So this drain has now been moved to the far north corner. Does it include those? I didn't look at the details. Does it include those things that Max was pointing out, the filter and so on?
Yes, it does. We did push it towards the north because we want the whole park. We don't want to have a big puddle in the middle in the middle of winter. So I believe that it does. I really, but whatever detail Max wants on that thing, we'll certainly provide.
All right, and I guess my question would be: is this filter, this oil catch, is not? It's a center drain slash catch basin, and that would imply that it is a water will drain into it and then be filtered and then drain out to some other thing. So is that a pipe that I see?
Yeah, that's right there.
Got it.
Yes.
Understood. Perfect. And it also, for your purposes, it decreases the length of that pipe. If it was in the center, it would still drain. It wouldn't be a puddle, but you'd have this gigantic long pipe going back to the north, which would be less than optimal.
Yeah, it's certainly it's going to save some space, but I think that I'm thinking more of the winter, which seems to be suddenly upon us. And snow accumulation and that kind of drainage. We'd rather not have it accumulate in the middle. If you know that catch basin fills up and it freezes, you can have some puddling.
Right. Then the last thing I know Max mentioned to me was about the restoration planting plan and so on. I think he referred at some point, he said he was happy with the plan that had been provided. So I can't speak for him, but pending his agreement that the site, the management of it and the restoration plan and so on, all that is acceptable.
Well,
that checks that box.
Well, we have not really done a complete planting plan with the idea that we will have Max direct us with regard to that. I know he was particularly concerned about the Phragmites over in the southwest corner. I think I mentioned that a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And once these tailings are out of this area, we're going to have to see what we find. But I doubt that there's too much in terms of Phragmites, although I guess they're pretty hardy things.
Yeah.
So the idea is to keep people out of the wetlands, to restore this area immediately behind the parking lot. We moved the parking lot. We made it less deep and more wide. And that was really basically so we could, when Max made that determination with regard to this drainage ditch that was here. So I think we pushed it about as far as we can, and we certainly would accept a condition that it would be that the planting plan had to be approved by Max, and we would work with, and that we had to work with him to develop it.
Okay. And what does anybody else think about that? I would say planting plan includes the restoration plan as well.
Right. That's in
Because what was submitted to us, the planting plan, because I looked at it, is really more for the planning board. It's sort of hiding this site as much as possible from Route 9, correct?
right. Right. We did this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have no argument with that. That's exactly right.
That's fine. I mean, my only recommendation is that we recommend that there is some type of maintenance agreement for the oil separator, because it's only as good as it is designed, which I know it will be designed well and maintained.
Right, like Appalachian Market. I think we did that with Appalachian Market when it came in. Those.
I'll take a look for that. I mean, I don't think that'll be a problem. I mean, I don't really remember about Appalachian Market, but I'll take a look and I don't know how it works, the maintenance agreement works, but if we've done it before, we'll,
I have a recollection of that, Glenn. I could very well be hallucinating that, but I think we required that for Appalachian Market too.
uh,
I didn't
I'm
crib from
I'm
that.
not disputing it, I just don't remember.
Excuse me, Glenn.
Yes,
Margaret McManus is on with her hand up. Do you want her on? Does she have something to say regarding?
only if it's positive on my side.
Well, I didn't know if she had something to add to your.
I don't know, you could invite her in, sure.
Margaret, are you there? Margaret?
Hi, hi, Margaret McManus and Thadian Watson. Glenn, I just wanted to say that the reason we put the catch basin on the far end is because the pitch of the pipe, in order to get it to out, we couldn't put it in the middle. And I believe we did do a planting plan.
No, we didn't do a planting plan with regard to the wetlands restoration is what we're mostly talking about, but thank you.
Yep, okay.
I guess the only other question I have besides, well, quite honestly, not being completely convinced that tailings and so on are impervious, but I'll take your professional opinion on that, Glenn.
Well, from a drainage point of view, they are impervious. They will eventually catch, some gravel, grit and gravel and stuff like that. But from a drainage point of view, they are impervious.
Okay.
Glenn, these tailings are macadam and I'll call it sort of recycled asphalt, et cetera.
Right. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Mark, they are, because I have a little of it underneath a part of my driveway that should have never been there. And being impervious is what makes everything wash away.
Okay. All right. We'll take it at that. My only other question, Glenn, was the dumpster in that back corner, in the south corner, the dumpster location. Is that intended to?
That's that will have to move. That we're not going to keep it there. We're going to keep it near the front. We agreed to that before, and frankly, I didn't notice it.
Yeah, it seems like that's exactly the thing that was going to contain the rear ends and the axle grease and the.
Yeah, you wanted that. Yeah, we talked about that being over at this end by space 12 here.
Right, or I mean, functionally, wouldn't it even be better if it was obviously not functionally for the use of the thing, but in terms of when it rains and all the oil and grease washes out of it, that you put it near the trap, the separator on the north end. The only problem is, how the hell do you get back there to pull this thing out every once in a while?
Yeah, you need, I guess we could look at putting it at 10, but I would think that the drainage is all directed there. I don't know. We could, I'll talk to him about that. I would think that either 10 or 12 would be fine.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, anybody else have any other questions or suggestions? Yeah, I miss Max on this one. I know he had a pretty strong opinion about it, so I guess we'll let him recover. And I think what we're expected to do now is, I guess Max is going to write a follow-up letter and address the new plan and say we're good to go. I don't know, guys. What do you think is happening next?
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, they've addressed. It's sort of a difficult site. I think they've pretty much addressed everything, other than we don't have a planting/mitigation plan for the wetlands, which it would make the most sense for them to work with Max on. And the only other devil in the details is that when they spread and roll the tailings, that that they keep grade and it's just done as best as possible, which I'm sure that Glenn's firm will oversee because it's their engineering licenses. So I'm fine.
Well, I'm sure he'll have us set the grades out there.
Right.
And I'm sure he'll have us do that. And I'll make a point of mentioning to him, besides I need work.
So, you know,
Okay, MJ, what do you have to say about it? Come on.
I'm interested in Max's input on the planting plan and any like mitigation work done in that area. I don't know. I mean, are you thinking that you want to vote on this, or how do we want to proceed?
well, I believe the planning board is the permitting authority.
Oh, right. So we're not even voting.
Right,
This
we are
is just-
making recommendations, yes.
Right.
Exactly. And I
Well-
think we're close, other than the mitigation plan of the wetland plantings.
I think we just need to get Max's input on that, and then we can make our recommendations to the planning board before their next meeting, hopefully.
Okay. Jan?
Yeah, I agree. It's a very damaged site. It looks to me like they've tried to address the points that the board raised. I like the idea of the concrete blocks instead of the chain link fence a lot. I think that's a big plus. And the tailings sound a lot better than item 4. So I think subject to Max, they're working with Max on the planting and his final approval on the planting and restoration. I think they've done what we asked.
Okay.
I think the maintenance agreement is important too, by the way. I agree with Andy's comment.
All right, so then I will reach out to Max and let him know that, number one, we are looking for his input vis-a-vis the planting plan. And Glenn, you're going to look up to find out what you can find out about the maintenance plan from the Appalachian market.
I will,
And the dumpster is getting relocated.
yes.
And you're going to confirm with us what is contained in the separator, filters, and so on.
Right, will do.
Very good, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank
thank
you.
you. Have a good holiday.
Thank you, you too.
You.
Thanks.
Andy, do you remember that? Or am I just,
I know we had, with the Appalachian market, we definitely had an agreement vis-a-vis the septic, because it has an atypical septic, but they're very, most likely were grease traps too, because that whole site is in a wetland.
yeah, exactly. And and when they were telling us about, at the time, they were somewhat newfangled. You know, it was a drainage catchment that had a filter in it for
Yeah, I
the
think you're right.
oil and gasoline. And I think that we insisted that they give us some sort of a maintenance. They had a maintenance schedule or a maintenance plan
Right. No, I
that
think
we
you're
could
totally
point
correct.
to. I really think that that's probably a part, it may be a part of their file, but Glenn, you'll probably find it in your files.
Maybe. Although that place is if you're going by there lately, there,
Yeah.
my boss has torn the place apart. And there's a big dumpster out there ready to get all the bottom floor taken out.
Oh,
Can't find anything.
Wow.
oh, no.
Wow. MJ, you know what? You kind of rattled my little brain cells around. I absolutely remember that. There was a grease trap on the southern corner of
Yeah.
parking lot. It was supposed to, in case there was ever a gas spill or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Well, I don't know why I remember it on the southern corner though, because I don't see how a fuel leak would ever wind up all the way over there. But
I think it had to do with the pitch.
you know, unless maybe that's what that trap is on the southern corner of the gas area itself, right next to the entrance where the air pump is.
Yeah.
The other thing, oddly, I mean, this has nothing to do with anything else, but I distinctly remember they were given approval, final approval, based on the fact that they would not have a public bathroom because they have a very limited septic. And guess what? They have a very public bathroom. So in any case, shall we move on to?
Started out not being a public bathroom. They had a sign on it.
Yeah,
And then I guess things changed,
exactly.
as they happen to do.
We try, right? So can if we, is Chloe, are you out there?
I just let her on.
Okay, Kelly was telling me Chloe did not actually get anything in filed by the deadline, but she did want us to give us a little bit of an update. So if it's okay with you all, let's see what she has to say. Hi there.
Hi. Also, if you can let Margaret McManus on with Beatty and Watson, we hired them to pretty much help move this process along, make sure we're doing everything right. So she's going to also kind of be representing us in this meeting. But I did also, we did have a certified plumber come on to the site and inspect the well. They did a well depth and sounding and recovery rate check on it. So we have that information. And then we did a dye test with the water from the well, and we didn't find any leaks. That we did that the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So we do also have that information.
All right, I think I have to recuse myself again from the discussion, but you guys want to take the lead on what information you want to take now, or if you want to, how you want to handle it.
Since you're working with Beatty and Watson, do they have anything to tell us?
Sure. I can't turn on my video, Kelly.
That's on your end. You should be able to. Let's see.
Well, it still says I can't turn it. Ah, there we go. Hi, Margaret McManus from Beatty and Watson. How are you? I've reviewed the file that Kelly had submitted to the board, and I understand that there were some comments about the location of the house and the location of the septic system. The history of the site is that in 2015, Beatty and Watson was hired to see if there was an expansion area for an septic system in that area. And there was extensive soil testing done, which would not allow for any additional bedrooms or an expansion of the system. So that is when the house had burnt down. So the health department issued a permit in order to keep the septic system where it was. It's in a functioning condition. The only condition at that time was to replace the septic tank, which was metal, with a newer concrete septic tank, which was completed. I didn't realize that Chloe had repetitioned the health department and renewed that approval, which was done in June of 2019. In the meantime, we have reached out to the health department to ask them, you know, what the status was, because it was from 2015, but now it's actually a valid open permit from 2019. One of the things that they wanted us to do would be a dye test. Chloe had a dye test done by a plumber. You know, if we want to certify it, we would redo a dye test. It seems that it's in well working order. Now I can share my screen to show Chloe's plan. Can everybody see?
Yes.
So this is the existing pond and waterway with the existing driveway. This is the location where the house was, in a very similar to what was there before. And this is the location of the existing septic relative. And we understand that we're within a within the buffer area. And there was contemplation of moving the house farther up the hill. We can look to see if we can move the house, slightly so that the house would be out of the buffer. But the septic really basically has to stay where it was.
Could you blow up the area of the septic on your screen for us, please?
Sure. Hold on just a second. So this plan, I think just shows the distribution box. It does not.
Because I know what we're definitely, I mean, we can't really decide on anything tonight because we don't have a quorum because Mark has recused himself. But we are going to need a plan that delineates where the septic system is as best as possible. I mean, we don't expect you to dig it up to show us exactly where the pipes are, but I am guessing that you can estimate roughly where the pipes are and certainly the size of the tank. And if there's any type of clay barrier or what have you, I do think we need that to be able to judge this.
The size of the tank is a 1,000-gallon concrete tank.
No, I'm not interested in the
precast.
tank. I'm talking about the septic field itself.
Yeah, no, I'm having a look. Here we go. I'm sorry, it popped off my screen. I'm on the other screen. We can look into our records to see what exactly we have as far as our records, and we will foil the health department to see what they have as records.
I have foiled the health department. They have, besides the 2000, sorry, I can't share it. I don't have it. But besides the plan that was received with the 2005, besides that repair system that was done by the Gallaghers, they have no other information.
What were you just holding up? Could you hold that up again, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the proposal for a sewage disposal system. It was done by the Gallaghers in 2005 and it was submitted and completed. And this was, I emailed this to everyone for the last meeting.
Was that?
I believe, Chloe, I do have that and I can share it.
Was
Okay,
was
great.
this drawn by an engineer?
Yes, I believe so. This was, and was approved and completed by the contractor was Lines and Sons. They're the ones who completed the work.
So it was Harold Lines and Sons that's the contractor. It might not have been drawn by an engineer.
Because I do think that we need to have on the site plan, the septic delineated. Because otherwise I don't think we're in compliance to the town's ordinance.
Yep, we can show a repeated location of it where we know where we suspect it to be. It's also been, as far as the records, we'll show the records that we have and put it as a reputed location. We can update the plan for that.
And obviously the reason of our concern is not only to abide by the town ordinance, but the septic and the grade that exists. If it were to fail, there is a water course, a high quality water course very close by. So that's, a big concern for us.
I understand that's a concern of the Putnam County Health Department, whose jurisdiction it is to review and approve septic fields. They are comfortable with this location. And if, you know, if in the future there is some sort of failure of the system, then it would be repaired under a repair permit, which means basically they would have to take out what's there and replace it in kind, because of the fact that there really isn't a better place on the property to put a different system. It's not that we're, you know, not willing to investigate different areas, but I can tell you that there was an extensive investigation done in 2015. If there was a better site, we would have located a system so that, you know, because they had looked to see if they could put a larger bedroom house, because this is a 2-bedroom house. And at that time, they wanted to put a larger bedroom house. The only way to do that would be to upgrade the septic system. If you cannot upgrade the septic system, then according to the New York State law and Putnam County Health Department, you're entitled to have, quote, what is existing. So you're allowed to have a 2-bedroom house with a system that is, you know, that is existing. It's not a failing system. It's functioning and it's allowed to exist as a 2-bedroom house.
I think we understand that, but the reason we want this is that it's not a septic system that we would normally approve. It's near a water course that feeds into a Class A water course. And more importantly, it has not been used in quite a few years. So I think what we're asking, I don't know what the other members feel about what should be on the plans, but I do think it needs to be delineated. And I certainly myself feel that a firm like yours that are certified engineers, that they do the test of it.
Yes, yeah, we will do the testing.
So does anybody else have any comments?
I think you're right on, Andy. I just want to, yeah, you know, let's see it on the plan. And, you know, if you do the testing, then we're going to feel good about it. Beatty and Watson does the testing. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we hope Max gets better soon.
Yes, we do.
All do.
And thank you and enjoy the holidays, and we'll get a resubmittal back to the board. And I guess your next meeting is in January, correct?
Yes, yes, it is.
All right.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. So now we have some new business. Shapiro on Indian Brook Road. Looks like we are just reviewing the screen porch, not the garage. Obviously, at this point, we can talk just for a second if the applicant wants to just introduce us, but I would say just the obvious question is, this is a non-conforming building. The deck is in the buffer, part of the house is in the buffer, it looks like. I'm not sure if that's a house or a deck to the what would that be, the north. But we are increasing the non-conformity by building an impervious structure substantially into the buffer. So I guess would the applicant or the representative like to introduce themselves and tell us a little about it?
Yes, hi, my name is Juhi. Actually, the name comes up as D. George, who registered for on my behalf, but my name is Juhi from River Architects. And I am here to represent our clients, Eben Shapiro and Sue Atkins, residing at 420 Indian Brook Road. And as you mentioned, they do have, well, they currently, I mean, it's a limited site, and they do have existing deck in the 100-foot setback area, and we are hoping to include a screen porch and a sauna enclosed below that screen porch. So they'll be doubled up on the same footprint. And we were looking at, how much the existing deck projects out and into that 100 setback, and we were proposing to stay within that protrusion. And should I share my screen?
Sure.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the main house. The property boundary is, I believe it's a little over 5 acre. However, due to the certain characteristics of the site, buildable area is limited to approximately this area. And we do have Indian Brook Road running to the east of the house, and we are proposing, zooming in, we're proposing to build a screen porch in this area. Part of it, half of it is an existing deck and step. We're proposing to build on top of that. And the existing deck is about 18 feet, almost 19 feet into the 100-foot setback. And we are proposing to be less than that, 17'4" maximum. And sauna would be tucked about half of that area. And the patio would be probably about the other half.
Okay, those, could you possibly roll down slightly on that
Okay.
image?
You mean
So those.
scroll out, zoom
Yeah,
out?
That's what, yep, the existing stone steps. Okay, I see, that's just coming down grade probably, and the existing stairs, proposed new deck stairs. Okay, I got it.
I think we need to have a site visit
Yep.
because, normally this is, again, it's something we're dealing with not far away where we have something that's non-essential being put in the wetland buffer. Because the first thing that comes to my mind is, I'm going to say north-south, just using the screen, or top-bottom. Why couldn't this, and I need to see the site, be moved more towards the bottom so that it's completely out of the wetland buffer? Because it looks like there's an area to do that. Architecturally, it might not be ideal, and that's why I think we need to go out and see the site. Because normally, I don't think we would approve a screened-in porch that is going into a wetland buffer just because part of the house or an existing deck is within the wetland buffer doesn't mean we're going to repeat something like that.
Excuse me. Currently, the proposed location is adjacent to the kitchen, and our client are expecting to use the screen porch mainly for dining purposes.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm sure you have explored many, if not all, options, but we have to, obviously, once we go out and see it, it'll be easier, but could it just be rotated 90 degrees?
And sit here?
Clockwise? Yep.
Yeah. Well, even, I believe you're online. If you have any thoughts, I think, yeah, seeing it in person all together again would be great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well then our fearless leader, Max, hopefully will be back on his feet shortly, and he would reach out to you, normally reaches out to you and organizes a visit, and we will do so as soon as we possibly can.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, have a good night. That's it, right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys. I I would ask Max about stormwater, but we won't be doing that. So I guess we're all done for the evening. So can I have a motion? Oops. Am I working? Yeah, I am working. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Unless somebody has some questions or comment. Oh, wait, Kelly, wait. Kelly has something she needs to tell us.
Kelly will be leaving this position. This is going to be my last meeting.
Oh,
Oh my
Or,
goodness.
I mean, I will still be helping whoever comes into the position, but I am been asked to move on to work next towards Tara as her deputy clerk. So I've chosen to do so.
good
Congratulations.
for you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's terrific.
Thank you. I told Mark I was toying. I didn't know what to do. I was going to miss everybody, but I think it's going to be a great opportunity for me. So I will still be around for a while training the new person, but I'm going to be moving on. So
Moving on up.
moving on up.
Good for you, Kelly.
Thank
Congratulations.
Good luck.
you.
That's
I
terrific.
feel a little bit like this position is like the drummer in Spinal Tap.
Ah,
More Gallo.
We keep losing this person. It's like, oh darn.
Well, I think the next person, whoever comes in, has the intentions on sticking around for a very long time. So,
Good.
yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
congratulations.
good luck. Yeah, good luck, Kelly, moving over. And I thank everybody for serving again this year on the board. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, we didn't see you. I didn't know you were out there. Good evening.
Yeah, I did. By the way, I did mention these issues about people putting items into the wetlands regulated areas that are not really, essential. Obviously, our last episode was with the pool. So I try to give people a heads up, not to really come to us with these issues until they get a chance to be able to, examine it, maybe even talk to Max or somebody about it, because we really shouldn't be approving these in those areas.
Agreed.
Agreed. Thank you, Mike.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I mean, because they just have to understand that these are regulated areas where more and more we're getting pressured to build more and more into these areas. And I think the more we get that message out, the less we'll have to be heavies basically at these meetings, so.
Yeah, Mike, I don't know whether there's a way that we can get the like the engineering groups and the architects that are, that work in the area. Maybe there's a way to communicate this to them. That I mean, I think they know because every time they bring things to us, but it almost feels like as professionals, they could be advising their clients, no, that's not going to fly in Philipstown. You know what I mean?
No, it's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll talk to Max and we can talk to Greg about it, who will probably be more likely to speak with them and be able to get these things resolved ahead of time without them having to come in like this. Yes, that's a good point.
All right. Thanks, MJ.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you and happy
All right.
holidays and happy new year.
happy holidays.
Yes.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Thank you.
A motion to adjourn.
I'll make that.
I'll
Second.
second.
All in favor? There it is. It's unanimous. Okay, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy
Good night.
holidays.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
I know.